What do they say? That within every man resides like his right child or whatever.
You nailed that one.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Hello and welcome back to Dodgers Debate. I'm Jack Harris, the LA Times Dodger beat writer, along with my once again emotionally drained
Deadline Dylan.
Deadline Dylan Hernandez. Was it a 2-column night for you as you were going through the ninth inning, or did you have enough faith in the Dodger bullpen to hang on?
I mean, I turned into like a 4-column night because the losses went through different variations, right? It was, at first it would have just kind of been like at the 1-0 stage, I had like a loss thing ready to go just in case, and I had that 4th inning crazy double play, which we'll get to later. But but then like once like Roki comes in and can't get it done, which raised some other issues, raised some questions about, A, should Snell have been pulled at that point, B, the 3 innings outing, in the last game of the NLCS, did that affect Sasaki? So, yeah, man, it was a bit of a.
Look at you! You sound like you've just run 10 miles and are just ready to keel over.
I mean, in my head, I did.
All right. Well, the Dodgers had to run a little bit of a marathon tonight, but they did win Game 1 of this NLCS. They hang on for a 2-1 win in which Blake Snell was fantastic. The offense was not. The 4th inning ended in completely wild fashion. But I think what we were kind of talking about downstairs in the clubhouse right now, before we get into some of the specifics of the game, I think tonight what you saw is why the Milwaukee Brewers are such a tough team to play, because they're doing this, they got an opener and then they got Quinn Priester.
I would actually argue that this is why the Dodgers are going to win this series.
Well, right. Well, let me get to my point. They're tough to play, yes.
Right.
They're doing all these things. They got good pitching. They turn. I give credit to them on that defensive play. Yeah, maybe. But yes, that's the kind of game that the Brewers are here because they win those kinds of games, and the Dodgers pulling that out felt like a really big deal.
Yeah, because yesterday, today, Pat Murphy, the Brewers manager, has really kind of been emphasizing this like David and Goliath theme. But
some great quotes.
But I actually think that's kind of what we saw out there, right? Because despite the Brewers used 6 different pitchers. They used an opener. They kind of threw the whole kitchen sink at the Dodgers. But it kind of came down to their $182 million starting pitcher, Blake Snell, their $162 million first baseman, Freddie Freeman, who hit that home run that put him ahead.
Mm-hmm. And then there was $325 million outfielder turned shortstop, trying a bases-loaded walk and turning some nice plays.
Because I guess I just have trouble, right? Even after tonight, even with the bullpen problems, which is a problem. But I just kind of, again, like I said in the last series, I just don't think that they quite have the firepower to beat a team like the Dodgers.
Right.
I think they're going to win a game or two here, and maybe a blown save somewhere. Maybe the Dodgers are kind of losing kind of late in the game and they just decide to punt. But I kind of think that when the Dodgers kind of have all their ducks lined up in a row, that again, because even tonight, right, it was kind of a nightmare scenario there at the end. Right. And they were still kind of able to overcome that.
And it feels like I turned to you in the 9th inning and I said, this is like 2021 all over again.
I couldn't hear you, man.
The monastery was that loud, or you were just so much blood pumping through your head.
The sound of my heart about to explode was a little problematic.
But no, this game, and if that goes poorly, it's the 2021 NLCS all over again, where the Dodgers are the better team. But they're on the road because they didn't win the division. They're playing an Atlanta Braves team with inferior talent. They blow not just the first game of that series, but the first 2 games of that series. I think they were both walk-offs, but they were both late-game gut punch losses that they never recovered from. And it feels to me like in a series like this, I think the Brewers, we both agree, we're going to be coming back to Milwaukee just for the inconvenience of it. But that's what the Brewers are tough, and they're going to get a couple games. But if they're going to win this series, it's tough to lose this game where you have the bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th. You're 1 hit away from stealing this win. They're going to have to steal a game or 2. And this was a really good opportunity for them to do it when you look at all the way around. And to not do it, I think, again, just kind of cements this, it's going to be really tough for Milwaukee to outplay the Dodgers in 4 games, and you had a chance to do it tonight to get one late and to not, I think, leaves them with a very uphill climb. All right, let's start with the 4th inning double play, the 404-foot ground ball double play as it goes down in the scorebook. You know, this play is what makes the Brewers tough.
What, they're lucky?
Well, there's
luck,
multiple
man.
parts of it. So this inning, first, there's a great catch by Isaac Collins and left earlier in the inning, but then it's like that should have been a grand slam, and Sal Frelick stops it from being a grand slam. Now the ball, he knocks it down, it hits the wall, he catches it. My overview of this play is Teoscar Hernandez made the biggest mistake by not just going when he tagged the base initially on a play like that, even if it had been a clean catch that didn't hit the wall. Once the ball hits the fielder's glove and then he bobbles it and eventually catches it, once the ball hits the glove, you can go. And if he had just gone on that initial when the ball hit the glove, he gets home safely, regardless of the catch, no catch thing, and they at least get a run. So that's the biggest mistake. It's a tough thing to do in that moment, in that environment. You see the ball, but the Dodgers had a play like that earlier this season in New York, so they had seen it before, and that's the biggest.
But here's the thing. I mean, the reason I kind of put that like in the luck thing, right? No, because you couldn't see, right? You just couldn't see it.
Yeah, but again,
I don't know about you. I mean, we got pretty good seats here, right?
Yeah,
we have like a really good view, and
like
I had no idea like what happened, right? Like I had to go back and look, and I saw then the ball bounced out and then hit the wall, and that was a tough thing to kind of judge in real time. To me, that was just bad luck, right?
No, and I agree. And that's why I like the little things that the Dodgers didn't do right there. Again, but this is why playing Milwaukee's tough, because when you don't do those little things right, Teoscar Hernandez didn't have the best situational awareness there.
Right.
Will Smith, Dino Ebel probably don't have the best situational awareness because they don't see that out in left field. Again, it's a really weird, unusual setup to have an umpire in left field ruling that it's not a catch, but they don't see it, which is why Will Smith eventually gets doubled off at third, because everybody on the Dodgers side thought it was a catch. You know who knew it wasn't a catch? Is William Contreras, who gets the ball at home plate, doesn't try to...
He guessed.
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
he got the ball at home. He didn't tag because he knows it's not a catch.
That was like me when I took the AP algebra test and I passed it by accident.
He's the only one on the field who knew, because the Brewers didn't even.
Well, yeah, you might as well. Because you might as well.
But that's my point. Is if you don't do every little thing right in that kind of situation,
sometimes you just get lucky, man.
You
know what I did on that LP calc test, by the way?
Luck, yes.
So it was like you had to figure out like the side of like some kind of like shape.
I leaned over and peeked on my neighbor's.
So I kind of with my fingers, did one side, the side that was listed, or whatever. I kind of measured it out, and then I kind of like, okay, well, this is like approximately like, if this is 3.6, I go 4.217, and then I work backwards, and I just made up a bunch of crap.
This is supposed to be an example of your
luck,
ingenuity.
Well, it's just trying something, right? And I worked backwards, and it was just like completely unintelligible formulas, and I just figured I'd get partial credit.
Well,
because they wouldn't know what the hell was going on. They thought I might be a genius.
That is kind of like,
and that's what William Contreras did, and I passed.
Yeah, but you got to give credit to him, because they took that situation and they didn't. Like if he just eats the ball,
right,
then the inning probably continues.
I know, but I'm just saying, as somebody that like passed an AP calculus test like that, it's not as noble as you're painting it out to be.
That's fair, but let's
go. Yeah, I am very uncharitable. Right, let's go to Blake Snell, who was just awesome. And you know what the cool thing was? Actually you suggested that I go talk to Clayton Kershaw, and I did. And yeah, obviously Kershaw was
the only other Dodger pitcher since 2013 to have since 2004, since Jose Lima's shutout in 2004, to have a 8-inning shutout postseason start.
And he was excited. That's the thing is, like, I think one thing. If you're around Kershaw, the one thing that you do kind of feel, right, is just how much he just like loves baseball, how much he loves talking baseball. Mm-hmm. He was really juiced about this thing, and he's like, yeah, we know we know this is in there. When he's right, he's the best pitcher in baseball. So that was just kind of fun to see, just from like because what do they say, that within every man resides like his right child or whatever,
You nailed that one.
Yeah, well, whatever. You get the general idea. But anyway, we saw he brought the child out of. How old is Kershaw now?
37.
I was going to say 50, but like...
You're not even 50.
But he brought the child out of Kershaw, so I thought that was
Yeah.
really cool.
And that's how dominant he was. I mean, we came into this series talking about, oh, the Brewers make so much contact. They don't strike out. They're such tough at bats. And he goes out there, 10 strikeouts, 22 swings and misses, which is the most the Brewers have had in a game all season. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 fly balls. He faced the minimum batters over 8 innings because the one time he did give up a single, which was this little flare. I mean, you want to talk about luck, just this little bloop single into center. And then he picks the guy off, which is just another, like on top of all the other things Blake Snell is doing well in this postseason, like holding runners was a weakness before. Now he's picked 2 guys off since the start of the playoffs. Like, it's amazing how he has recognized, and he talked about this yesterday in his pregame press conference about, hey, why is it that you're getting deeper into games now? And he goes, a lot of it comes with age, right, and experience. And I wrote about this before the start of the playoffs and how that 2020 World Series for him, when he got pulled out of that Game 6 against the Dodgers, is something he was appreciative of because it reframed his perspective on, I need to do things over an extended period that earn my manager's trust, that earns my organization's trust, so that even if I'm dealing on that night, they believe that I can go deeper into a game.
Right. That was the alternate column I was writing, by the way. Was the guy whose career has, his October has so far been defined by getting pulled too early. Got pulled again too early again.
Yeah, right.
This time it wasn't Kevin Cash, it was October.
Let's get into that decision because that sets up the 9th inning. So Dave Roberts, I think one thing to remember is Dave Roberts is pulling him even before the Dodgers score the insurance run. So he's trusting a 1-run lead to Roki Sasaki. I didn't hate it in the moment, I guess, just because of how dominant Roki has been. If there was one inning where Snell looked even a little bit off, it was the 8th. Like I think he had a 3-ball count to his last batter. Like it was just a little extra effort that it required. And when you're, these managers, when they see that and you have somebody, again, who's been as good as Roki has been, and you got the bottom of the, I get it.
Yeah.
I think
I get it, but I didn't like it.
Right.
You asked me at the time, and I was just kind of like, I don't know. I just kind of ride the guy, right? Now, if I were a manager, I'm sure everybody would be having Tommy John by July. But
now, I think the thing it brings up is a reminder that Roki Sasaki, for as good as he's looked and for as nice of stories as we've both written about him in the last 4 days, this is a guy who's pitched 5 times
they just
since he
but didn't they just
injury.
grind him into?
Yeah, and that was the other thing tonight. Is he comes out, the command is off, and the fastball velo after the first batter dropped quickly. He was down to 96, 97 tonight. And the thing about his fastball is it's a flatter shape. If it's not 99, 100, it's easier to hit. And that's kind of what you saw, right? He gives up the double that really creates some stress in that inning. He cannot come back and command the way he has been before. And it's just, again, I think it's a reminder. Like Dave Roberts talked about, this guy is not going to be able to pitch every game for us and get every save.
He's not pitching tomorrow.
No. I'm sure there's maybe some residual. Like he had to pitch 3 innings 3 days ago or 4 days ago. And the more you go to him, the more variance there's going to be with his performance, which is why, again, I think moving forward, because this is 2 games now, going back to Game 4 of the DS, pulling Tyler Glasnow. Well, I guess there were cramps there, but in the moment, we were like, you probably got to let the starter go. And tonight, again, it's going to be as Dave Roberts tries to navigate these situations moving forward. How far do I push a starter? How much can I trust him? I think
Yamamoto's got to go 9 tomorrow.
right. You have to I think you have to risk if it means I have a potentially fatiguing starter out there. Instead of a fresher reliever, I got to go with the starter because they're the guys who are more trustworthy right now.
Roberts has done that up to this point, right? He's in those kind of situations. He's gambled with the starter, and for the most part, it has worked out, right? So we'll see about tomorrow. Just as we've been obsessing about this over the last few days, Ohtani, it basically looks like
we didn't even see him.
Well, they're not pitching to him now, right? Or, they're not. Some combination of they're kind of pitching around him. They're pitching to him very carefully. To his credit, now he didn't swing at that many balls.
Yeah, there's still an inside sinker he went
Yeah,
after,
he
but
did,
we'll see.
yeah.
Hey, this was not a great night to evaluate Ohtani in a
Right.
big picture sense. It was a good night to evaluate Blake Trinan, who came in and did get the last out, even though it wasn't the cleanest pitching, but a big moment for him. And again, I think for the Dodgers, like, this is the reality of the bullpen. Is there's gonna be a lot of nights they step on a landmine, and it's about, hey, can we get the bomb technician over here to turn it off before my leg blows up?
Right.
And tonight they did, which is why they have a 1-0 lead in the series.
Yeah.
All right, it feels I think you're about to fall asleep right
Yeah.
here.
This is not easy.
Oh, you warriors fighting through these deadline columns. All right, well, we'll be back tomorrow. Game 2 of the NLCS. It's going to be
9-inning effort from
Yoshinobu Yamamoto and his darker hair
with his
color.
darker hair. Yeah.
Against Freddie Peralta as the Dodgers try to take a 2-0 lead going back to LA. Until then, we'll have a lot of coverage on LATimes.com tonight, and we'll be back here tomorrow. Thank you for watching.